and welcome to another episode of the Realty Connection brought to you by the Mansfield Association of Realtors. I'm your host, Cassie, and today I'm joined by Amanda Sheets, our 2024 Ohio REALTORS Leadership Academy graduate and our first ORLA Scholarship winner. Amanda, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So I'm Amanda Sheets. I'm with Key Realty. I'm a mom of two boys, and I live here in Richland County.
2 boys, that's busy.
I'm very busy with 2 boys, yes, and they're in everything, it seems like, these days.
Fun. Yeah. Today, Amanda and I are going to be talking about the Ohio REALTORS Leadership Academy. And I think the biggest question about ORLA, so you may hear that term, we go between ORLA and Ohio REALTORS Leadership Academy, it's the same thing, is, well, what is it? Amanda, Ohio REALTORS Leadership Academy is a bit of a mystery, and they do that intentionally. But can you please share any of your thoughts on why ORLA is a great program and what are some of the goals?
Sure. So yes, it is very vague on purpose. And the reason for that is that each person gets a different experience. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a self-discovery process. And so what my experience might be will be different than the next person that goes and what they get out of it. And their goals might be different at the end than mine were. Mm-hmm. But overall, the program is a 5-stage session. And basically, they're just trying to create positive influences for people to take back to their communities and then affect them in a positive way.
Awesome. And, well, whatever you can share with us, what was your favorite ORLA experience or memory?
So as we mentioned, a lot of it has to be vague, but I will give you kind of a little tidbit. For me, there was an exercise that we did that there's generally, they have a specific number that they're trying to hit each year. So this past year, it was 12 realtors that got accepted into the program of all the applicants. And those 12 people, we built really strong relationships with throughout this process, and especially the year that we've had. And one of the exercises was around like giving compliments, but also not only giving them, which I truly enjoy, but accepting compliments. And I learned through that process that I wasn't always accepting compliments. I was negating them, and that was robbing other people of the joy that I feel when I give compliments. I was robbing them of that joy. So I learned through one of our experiences about how to not negate compliments or gifts and accept them and say thank you instead. So
it's not easy to say thank you.
I know, sometimes it's not.
So it's like, what? No.
Right.
And what was your inspiration behind applying for the Ohio REALTORS Leadership Academy?
So last year was the first convention I had ever gone to. And I kind of went as like a, open my eyes kind of experience and understand. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, we sat through the graduation of the previous year of ORLA. And we got to see some of the highlights of their grant projects, which we're going to talk about probably more in a minute. But that just inspired me. It's like these people are out making a difference in their communities, and I wanted to be a part of that. Well, so I thought, well, I'm not quite ready. Like, I'm not experienced enough. But through learning about the process, and then there was a scholarship that was offered through Mansfield Association of Realtors, which I 100% thank you guys for doing that. I thought, well, if it is a big investment, so if I get part of that back, at least I would be able to get into the experience and try it out and get what I could out of it and then get some money back for doing that. And so that's what inspired me to do it. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity to be able to apply.
We're glad you did it. The inspiration for the scholarship, we learn a little bit more about it every time we have somebody come through, because as a newer AE, I've been in this position since August 22. You learn a little bit more about it as you go. And in my first, it wasn't even a full year, but Alexa had gone through it. And then in 23, we had Stephanie Keir-Atkins. And so I got a bunch of feedback from them. And that was kind of why we decided to bring in the scholarship, to continue bringing people through a great program that, we needed to encourage more as an association.
When I think too, a lot of people think, well, oh, this is Ohio Realtors. How can it affect here? But actually, it's on a higher level. You meet different people from different areas, and then you're able to bring back more experience to your local community because of that. And I think that a lot of people don't know that, but it's really impactful by being able to do that.
You learn a lot at these conventions and expos. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so you did the application. What was the selection process like?
So it's a little intimidating to begin with if you've never done it, but this is me helping you not be intimidated if you decide to apply. So actually, Cassie and I met through this process because one of the requirements in the application is that you have to have 2 referrals, one from another industry leader, and then also from the AE of your local association. So Cassie and I hadn't really gotten to know each other until this situation. So don't be intimidated by that. She's not scary at all, I swear. You go in and you sit down and you basically get to know each other and understand like, okay, well, what can I provide to this area, or what is the need, or like, why would I be a good fit for this program, and get to know each other. So the 2 referrals. And then in addition to that, there's an interview process, which we'll talk a little bit more in detail about here in a few minutes. But basically, you go into a boardroom full of the ORLA board, which is made up of about, I can't remember the number specifically, but I want to say it's around 12 people, which seems intimidating, but the questions that they ask are really relevant. They're not things that are supposed to make you feel like, less. It's supposed to actually inspire you and understand like, okay, can you be vulnerable? Are you open to this opportunity? But the questions were, as deep as what's your biggest failure, all the way up to like, what podcasts are you listening to right now? So, I mean, things they want to make sure that you're encouraging in growth and things like that, because they want you to be the best apt for this program.
So is this like, do I need to sell so many houses per year to get in kind of thing? Or what are they really looking for when they're building these classes?
That's a great question. So a lot of people think that they can't get involved because I'm not the number one salesperson, but that actually doesn't play a factor at all. You just have to be an active agent. You have to have been in the industry for at least 2 years. And what, in my experience, they're looking for are people that are looking to get involved, whether that be on the local level, state level, national level, whatever your future goals are. They're looking for people that are open to taking what they learn from this program and implementing it into their local communities.
So it's open to anybody looking to be involved or inspired.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Part of this too, because Amanda was my first my first write-up, my first referral letter for ORLA, and we sat down, we had coffee. Yeah, I think we penciled out like 2 hours just to chat, and I got to know what she's passionate about, what her interests are, why she's doing this, and then I took that all back and wrote her a referral letter as to why I felt that she was a great candidate for this program. And it's so great because I remember when you were first licensed, I helped enroll you in the MLS as the admin. And then the more you learn about the people as you go, and then getting to watch you present your program, your project, and support your group. And I got to meet your team along the way. And it's great for us as much as it is for our members to see these type of things and to be able to bring them back and educate more and hopefully inspire other members to continue doing it, because it really does seem like a very rewarding process.
It definitely was. And I think that it's great that you asked me to do this so that hopefully this does inspire other people to want to either get involved or maybe be a part of this program so that they feel the confidence enough to get involved.
Yeah. And my referral letter process is a lot easier than sitting in front of 12 people. We'll just sit back, have coffee, and chat. And Amanda also serves on our education committee, and she shared a great article about the NAR library in Chicago, and it was included in the education resource section of our newsletter in August. Can you tell us a little bit more about your visit to Chicago to the NAR headquarters?
Yeah, so again, a lot of this I have to be vague because I don't want to spoil it for anybody else, but I am able to share that we were able to visit the headquarters, which, let me just tell you, that building is stunning. And one of the experiences that kind of stayed with me afterward was we were able to go up into their like executive meeting room where a lot of like the National Association of Realtor meetings are held. And you walk in and it's like a glass front to the building. If you ever see the building, the top of it has like a big R and a glass front, and that's where we were. And they have this huge conference table and everybody sits around with their own monitor, their own microphone, because a lot of stuff is done by Zoom.
Wow.
I'm sure all of that came out of COVID. But like, yeah, as you touch the microphone, then the camera points to you. And then as the next person touches the microphone, camera moves to that. I mean, like, so it's all very professional, up, high level. It was very interesting to be a part of that and to see the building and to meet a lot of the people that are making a difference at our national level. It was great.
That has to be so inspiring.
It
just
was.
To see where it all happens.
All the things happen. Yes, exactly.
So the cool thing about Amanda's ORLA group is you can choose to there's a couple different options for your project, but her group was inspired to do a placemaking grant, which is a grant to beautify a community or to do things to improve. And they chose Memorial Park in Butler, Ohio. We actually did another podcast episode where we interviewed her class and Mayor Dingus of Butler. And it was so neat to see everything take place. We had a nice pizza party. What was that restaurant again?
The Wiffle Tree.
That was so good.
Oh, it was so good.
And we made them nice t-shirts. That way they could, that unification. But why, can you tell us why your group chose Memorial Park and how is that such a big part of ORLA?
Sure. So basically one of the first things that they talk about when you get into ORLA, they used to do where you would talk about a grant that you would apply for, and then you would talk about your hypothetical project. Well, as time has gone on, they realized like, hey, we can actually take these ideas and make a bigger difference. And so now it's a real grant we apply for. We have an idea. So in that process, when you apply for a grant, you have to have a host association that basically will facilitate the funds from NAR to the local association. So thankfully, because I was involved with ORLA, Mansfield said, hey, we raised our hand. We would love if you guys would come and do a project here. So that helped us go from the state of Ohio for the amount of options that we had down to, okay, Richland County. And in talking with Cassie, her and I had discussed, they had just had a mayor panel not too long before her and I had talked. And basically she had said, hey, here's a couple of these people, maybe go talk to them and figure out, which one has the most immediate need. And everything kept leading to Butler. And after speaking with Mayor Dingus and understanding, like oftentimes Butler, because it's a small village, they have worked a lot to enhance things that are more infrastructure rather than things above ground. And so with that being said, Butler is my hometown. And so I felt a lot of pride in saying like, okay, one of the biggest events that happen in Butler is the Memorial Day Parade. And that all brings the entire village to Memorial Day Park. So if we could do something to where we can highlight this spectacle in town, that would be really beneficial to, the morale of the village. And so not only is it, at the one traffic light in town, but there's also multiple roads and intersections that are right there. And the B&O bike trail starts in Butler. And so a lot of people, when they're coming, are coming from different directions and driving through. And this is something that the village is very proud of, that we support our veterans. And so that's kind of where it all came from. And I'm so grateful that we were able to do all the things that we were able to do with the amount of money we got from the grant.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite parts about the presentation of your project was the before and after pictures and things like that, and the actual pictures from their first Memorial Day after you did all that work, which we're going to include in this section while we're talking about it. So hopefully you're looking at those. But was your quote that you put Butler on the map?
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that.
So before we took on this project, we had decided that we were going to try to put Butler on the map. And one of our goals with that was to give it an address. So we wanted to set up a Google page, which we're still in the process of doing. So if you go and look today, it might not be 100% today, but we're working on it still, even after graduation. But it didn't even have an address at the point that we went to set up Google, which is something that had to happen before we could set up the Google page. And so 48 Main Street in Butler is now Butler Memorial Park. So before this project, it didn't have an address. So now it does, which is very exciting. So people can make that a destination and get directions to get there, which is something that sounds so insignificant, but it is significant for putting it on the map.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now if you want to go see Butler, you can Memorial Park, you can Google Memorial Park.
Yes.
You led right to it.
Yes,
which
exactly.
They put a ton of work in there. There was a new sign, new benches, power washing, cleaning the cannons.
Yeah. All new
gravel, mulch, planters.
Yes.
New handrails. Those were even donated by a local business.
Yeah.
So
Watman Hardwoods in Butler helped donate those materials and put them in for us. So that helped save some on the budget so we could do even more, which was a great part of that project. Was the more we did, the more other people stepped up in the community to help us do more, which is so inspiring.
It really is. I mean, their grant was the placemaking grant. We say only $7,500 because it is expensive to buy benches and planters and gravel and all these things. But what you can't put a dollar amount on is how they came together and rolled up their sleeves and got people involved in the community to make it all happen. So there's a lot of working parts there, but it goes so much further than just the monetary value that was given. So
absolutely.
You guys did great.
Oh, thank you. We're really proud of it.
You should be. And now that you've graduated, what would you say is the most important thing that you learned from your ORLA experience?
It was hard to come up with one specific thing, but I would say there was a quote that one of our speakers said that I'll kind of share with you. And basically, it's kind of inspired my involvement in the board moving forward, and involvement in committees and things like that, is really to make changes in a big way. It all has to start with one thing. And so just like a house or just like the pyramids, somebody had to be the first person to lay that first brick. And it's hard to see the big picture when you're starting with one step, but you couldn't get to the big picture without the first move. So that's one thing that I took away that's still impacting me today is, we each, to make a difference, we all have to get involved. We all have to, even if we're a small part, we're a little part in a big plan. And unless you take one action, that may never come to fruition. So somebody has to be the first to do it. So
to say you want to be involved is holding the brick, but to actually be involved is laying the brick. And that is so true. Like, you cannot take away the importance of getting involved on your local, your state, your national level. That is the most impactful way to make your voice heard besides just voting. Like, you have to get out there and share the ideas in order for the ideas to even try to happen.
Right.
So it's great to have you in your brick laid.
Yes, thank you.
We'll keep laying them.
Right.
And what words of inspiration, or how could you motivate anyone listening today and trying and applying and going through this ORLA process? Like, what would you tell them?
I would say that I personally was hesitant because I didn't feel like I was experienced enough to be a part of this. But I would highly encourage anybody who feels led even a little bit to be a part of something more, or maybe you feel like you want to make a difference. I know I personally felt like I wasn't quite ready to do this experience because I hadn't been in the industry for very long, or I hadn't held a position on a committee. But this truly helped me gain the confidence to be able to be more involved and do those things. So just because you're not the number one salesperson, or just because you're not already involved, doesn't mean that this isn't the right opportunity for you.
Right.
That oftentimes people wait until they're told to do it. Well, be the person that advocates for yourself. And this process, yes, it is expensive. But think of it more of as an investment in yourself, because like I said, not only for me was it a professional development, but it was way more of a personal development that helped me be a better person as well as being a better realtor.
Starting with your own foundation really does lead to the path of making yourself better all around. I mean, it goes a long way.
Absolutely.
So it's not about if you've only been licensed and practicing for 2 years, 25 years, 30 years. It doesn't matter if you're just a real estate agent selling every day, or if you're a broker or a management level. There's high-level brokers that participate.
Right.
You are enough. You are able. All you have to do is take that first step to lay your brick and fill out the application.
Yes, and I would highly suggest, if you're feeling nervous about doing it, or you're feeling hesitant and want some reassurance about my experience, please reach out to me. I would be happy to talk with you about my experience and what I got out of it. And if there's anything I can do to encourage you, I would love to do that.
Awesome. And I think one of the best questions on here is, if you could travel back in time, if you had your DeLorean.
Whoa, we're dating ourselves here.
Oh, yeah. And you could go back to November 2023. Would you complete the application and start this process all over again? Was it worth it?
I would say 110% it was worth it for me. And I would do it again. And that's why I'm here willingly trying to encourage anybody else who's feeling like I felt back then, to where, oh, I'm hesitant. Like, what if it doesn't work out, or what if it's not the right time? You will be accepted when it's the right time.
Yes.
When it's your time to be there, you're going to be put with the people you're supposed to be with in the right moment, when it's the right time for you. So I would highly encourage you to apply. And if you don't get in this first time, don't get discouraged. Like I said, there's a very strict, selection process, and maybe the other people that are trying to be in Orla aren't a good fit with you, and maybe next year will be a better fit. So don't be discouraged. I would highly encourage everybody to get involved and to represent Mansfield in Ohio. We're a very important area that oftentimes is overlooked because we're not Columbus or Cleveland or Cincinnati, but we're important too. So I encourage people to get involved from this area.
Absolutely. So Amanda, is the application process open for the 2025 Ohio Realtors Leadership Academy?
It is open right now. Actually, the deadline to apply is November 18th of 2024. So I know that sounds like it's a little ways away, but it'll get here before you know it. And there's a lot to do to submit that application. And like I said, you have to have those 2 referral letters. So don't wait too long to make a decision. There is a $250 application fee in the case that you, for some reason, if you aren't accepted, that is refunded to you. And if you are accepted, it goes toward your tuition, which is great. So it's not like it's a all for naught. And then Cassie said that she's going to include the link to the website below so that you can read more about it, read some testimonies, and hopefully apply.
That's right. So the total tuition amount is, and that's after your application fees applied, is $1,450. And we'll be announcing before November 18th for sure, that scholarship continuation for sure.
Okay.
And I wanted to thank you for stopping by today and actually inspiring me to film this episode to teach more about Orla and sharing your experience. And we want to congratulate her on completing such a wonderful program. And we're so grateful that she's bringing her knowledge and experience from this back to our members, because we only benefit the more we learn. So it's
Absolutely.
great. And there was a quote you had said earlier. What was it? Education. It was about education and how.
Yeah, that basically, like, education is something that can never be taken from you. So the more we know, the better off we'll always be. So I feel like if there's an investment that you can make in yourself and education, obviously something that I value, like, it can never hurt you to know more things. So I'm thankful for this opportunity to be able to learn things to bring back to teach other people.
Education is valuable.
I also wanted to put out a reminder. The Education Committee is offering a $75 scholarship toward the cost of your ABR designation. So basically, you're required to do the ABR elective course and the designation class. And if you do those things and submit your certificates of completion to the MAR, they will give you that $75 back that you might have spent on the elective. So if you do that, please reach out to the MAR staff and we'll get you handled.
Yes, and the ABR, in case you haven't heard yet, is the Accredited Buyers Representative, and you'll gain helpful tools and knowledge and information to help you speak to your buyer clients. And even if you've been in the industry 25 plus years, everybody could benefit from education on how to better present themselves or speak to people. So never hurts to keep investing in yourself. And $75 is half the cost of the application for the ABR designation. And the nice thing about this is NAR is offering the ABR class for free for members all year this year. So just sign up, take the class. It's free. Get that designation.
Yes, absolutely.
But thank you for joining us for another episode of the Realty Connection. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook for more information. We post there regularly. If you have any topic ideas, special interviews you would like to see, like the one we just heard today, or if you are interested in the Ohio REALTORS Leadership Academy and would like to talk to Amanda more about it, or if you have questions regarding the ABR designation, please reach out to us at 419-756-1130 or email staff@mansfieldboard.com and we can get you in touch with her. Thank you.
Thank you.